Hello and welcome to Avanade's Imagine What You Will Do with AI video series. We're joined today by our guest, Ruadhán Barry from Sitecore. Ru, an absolute pleasure to have you here. How are you today?
Not too bad. Thank you for having me, Paul.
You might tell us a little bit about yourself and about Sitecore.
Sure. So I work in product management in Sitecore. I'm accountable for our products around the data and the platform. So customer data platform, personalized search, connect, all of those products that are designed to support data, support our marketers to get those campaigns out to their customers.
Brilliant. The company Sitecore works with global brands and has a phenomenal reputation out there. You might talk to us a little bit about partnerships. So we work, as Avanade and Sitecore have worked together, specifically on the projects we work together. You might give us a little bit more detail about what we've done.
Sure. So we've got a really, really close partnership. I think Avanade is seen as internally in Sitecore as one of our trusted partners when it comes to building really complicated projects and adding value to those projects and being a partner who is with us during those implementations. And so if I think about some of the most recent projects that we've worked on together with shared customers like Velux, like Polyme, and like BDR Therma, those are really, really complicated projects that kind of span content creation, website creation, asset creation, building experiences, delivering those experiences. They're all very important projects for us, and then also for you. And I think we see a kind of common goal there to achieve success. I think also the Avanade.com website project is a great project for us as well, where we brought that new product, XM Cloud, over the last number of years to market. And I worked with you guys to really help us get that product into market, but then also move your .com over there. And that was a shared project we worked together on to really achieve a lot of success.
And that's really interesting that you would say that, because I think that's been one of the most interesting things about the relationship with Sitecore and Avanade has been, not only can we deliver services to you, and you would deliver services to us, really where the rubber hits the road is with our partnerships together with those customers that you just mentioned. That's been the most fascinating thing. I mean, from your perspective, that partnership ecosystem must be very, very important, because Microsoft is our common ground there, I think, on technology.
I think Microsoft brings a huge amount of weight and innovation to that partnership, which is incredibly valuable to us from a platform perspective, but then also from a partnership perspective. And I think the really dynamic relationship that we have as Avanade and Sitecore is one of, as you mentioned, that kind of customer, but also partner delivery and kind of partner when it comes to delivering value for our shared customers. And so when it comes to those projects around asset creation, around website development, it's not just services. It's not just those kind of basic services that are applied. It's those real value realization work that gets delivered as part of that partnership, which is incredibly valuable to us, to have a partner that is as focused and as dedicated on innovation and delivering value as Avanade.
And what's really interesting about Sitecore and some of the guests we've had on the show have been very much in the services side. So very much looking at AI in a different light, looking at it from a perspective of how it can help their internal workings, etc. What's super interesting with Sitecore, it's AI as a part of your product suite is what gives you that cutting edge and that advantage in the product suite. So you might talk about that journey with AI and with Sitecore.
Sure. So you're right. It's a little bit different. We don't get to use Sitecore as consumers. Our job is to build products that service those marketers and technologists to do their job that they need to do. And as part of that, we need to enable that workflow with AI. And so with the kind of emergence of AI over the last 2 years, it's really important that from a product perspective, we asked ourselves the questions, well, what problems do marketers have that could be solved with generative AI? And that's where we really start thinking about how we build that into the SaaS product, into the portfolios of products that enables those customers, our customers, to do more. And what they're doing is they're using our AI to build out those content assets, build out those campaigns so that they can improve the customer experience for their customers.
So with DXP, what are the key areas that AI is helping? Is it the personalization area, that hyper-personalization, really understanding the user or the end user? What is it that probably makes your product so special?
Yeah, when we talk to our customers and our partners and we look at kind of the problems that they're trying to solve, they're not really different problems from what they were trying to solve years ago. They're looking at that concept of the jobs that they need to do, the workflow management that they need to achieve. All of that is not going to change dramatically. What will change dramatically is, though, the capabilities that enable them to do that faster. And so I think when we look at what's about to happen with AI, what has happened over the last 2 years, there's a fundamental change, I think, in the expectation of time and pressure on delivery and cost. And so there's going to be an expectation that people do more with less. And that includes both content creation, and there's a huge amount of change happening there in LLMs, being able to generate not just images and text, but also videos and into that kind of sphere as well. And then enabling people to get those content and assets out the door and personalize them into the consumer in real time. And so that process is moving down from maybe weeks down to days. One of our strategic partners is Microsoft, and we do a huge amount of work with Microsoft, specifically in the AI front, the platform front. The capabilities that they allow us to build from is incredible, and we are kind of all in on Azure and the capabilities that brings us. And then other partners that bring real capacity to that to be able to deliver those features. And that's the work that we do with the likes of Avanade, which has been a partner for us for over 12 years, delivered hundreds of kind of enterprise level transformation projects together. That's a really important piece for us because we can't do it alone. We have to do it with partners. On the technology front, yeah, absolutely. It's built by Microsoft, but Microsoft also gives us the ability to deliver other partners, OpenAI, for example. And so you have to, I think, look at these things, especially from a product perspective, and say, is Sitecore ever going to build our own models and compete with OpenAI? Probably not. But we need to be able to get to market and win together. And that's really important for us.
From the last number of months, from a development perspective, from a product play, there's a lot of exciting things happening with Sitecore. I'm guessing that all of that at pace, breakneck speed is producing some pretty innovative next stages to your product.
It does. There's a lot of innovation. But I think at each juncture, when you do innovate, you also need to take stock of exactly what it is you're doing. And so our customers expect that innovation, but they expect that to be balanced as well, right? So the guardrails need to be there. The data privacy concerns need to be addressed. Any of the kind of governance of data processing, data consent, any of those kind of things, they need to be in place as well. And you can't just move at absolute breakneck speed and expect that the end experience for our customers is going to be outstanding. It won't be. And that's where we need to kind of protect and show leadership for our own customers so that their consumers are happy with what they do. And so when we look at some of those guardrails, for example, is around content creation. You need to have something that is generating content within your brand voice, within your brand guidelines. And that's really important. And so I guess Sitecore has kind of got two commitments specifically around that. The first is that we will never use our customers' data to train models. That's never going to happen. And so we recognize the importance of our customers' data. When we first built the Sitecore CDP back in the day, it was a first-party CDP. It wasn't dealing with third-party data. It was really recognizing that your data is critical to your business, and being able to leverage that data for your own brand is really important. So we're not going to train models. We do, however, ground models in your data. And what does that mean? So if you are a customer who has a set of brand guidelines, you have a tone of voice, you have all of these things around your brand that you need an AI to be aware of. You can use that content within Sitecore, load it into Sitecore, and say, actually, for all the content that we generate, all the words, all the asset generation, they all have to align to this tone of voice. They all have to align to this color scheme. They all have to align to the way that we talk in the market, and that's really important. And what that allows customers to do is to focus on the innovative practices for themselves. How do I stand out in a market where everyone is generating content? And if we imagine that everyone is generating content at that breakneck speed, there needs to be in place a space for understanding differentiation.
Interesting you said jobs to be done there. A really interesting framework. There was a great saying by Einstein, which was, if you had 60 minutes to save the world, spend 50 minutes figuring out what the problem is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The jobs to be done framework kind of focuses on often forgotten things, which is what the actual person is trying to do in their job in a day to get to the next stage. And often we overcomplicate it sometimes. It sounds like the way you develop your products is very much with that in mind. It's the actual end user, their experience, and how they really want to use the product.
I think it's a balance. And speaking from a pure product perspective, I think it's a balance between what's cool and what looks great in a sizzle video versus actually when you log into the application, can you get what you need to get done? And for most of us, we're under some kind of time pressure. Not everyone is going to want to spend all day in our applications, and that's okay. I don't expect them to. But what I do expect is that when they do log into our applications, that we very quickly understand who they are, what they need to get done, and how do we enable them to get in, get the job done, and get out because they're busy. As we said earlier on, there's an expectation that there's going to be more done with less, and we have to recognize that and recognize our place within that workflow.
It might be a good time to retrospectively look back here. Throughout your career, you've obviously seen technology evolvements. How does it rate the last 12 months in comparison to its speed of evolution?
What I think is interesting to me is if I reflect my own personal usage. And what do I use generative AI for? Do I use it on a day-to-day basis? Yes, I do. And that indicates to me that it is a bit more transformative. When we go talk to partners, consultancy firms, customers, they see the same thing. And so they expect that this is a transformational shift. If you had asked me 3 years ago, would we be building what we're building today? I probably honestly wouldn't have seen it coming. I'm sure there's lots of people who did, and fair play to them. I wouldn't have thought so. I didn't see that change or that development when GPT came out first, and we saw Midjourney and all those things come out. They were really mind-opening and kind of expanded the horizon.
So, knowing that your prediction for a year's time could be close, do you think that where does this all evolve in your head for the next 5 years or so? Where do you all see all this going from Sitecore's perspective?
Yeah, I think...
tough question. But
it is a tough question, but I think the things that we were building right now compared to where we're going to be building next year, if I could say with 100% certainty I knew exactly what those are, I'd be lying. But there is definitely themes of work that we need to focus on. And as I talked about earlier with brands, understanding where you differentiate as a product for your own consumers, I think Sitecore needs to recognize where we differentiate, why people come to Sitecore, and why they use our products in order to get something done. And I think if we focus on supporting those marketers, those technologists, to get those jobs done, to providing them the power to build, I think if we focus on those things, we can't go wrong. Now, if it is LLM models as they are today, GPT-4 with the October 1st release, the O1 release, that could be it. Who knows what OpenAI are going to release over the next 6 months, 12 months. That might change exactly our roadmap, but that's okay. And that's where we have to be. We have to be reactionary and focused on delivering that value for our customers. And that has to be the most important part.
Is it almost a case of you can almost fine-tune yourself to be reactionary because of the fact you have to be? Because the pace of change, as you said, from an OpenAI perspective alone, is so significant. You have to be ready to adjust, how to adjust quickly. How does that affected the way you look at like the likes of change management, about how people are, if you get me, and your end users? Is there been a noticeable change in the culture of the company from changing to this modern breakneck speed, covering everything with the right cover of security, but also being able to adapt? Has that been a culture change? Or
I think it has been a culture change, but I think what you have to realize when you are doing this type of work and you are in this kind of space is that it's much better to be doing that than not. And so the alternative is that you just put your head in the sand and you say, this too shall pass, and LLMs aren't going to be, AI is not going to be the next big thing, and we're going to focus on something else. I think everyone in the business recognizes that is not the case, and that this is kind of a train, it's a change that cannot be ignored. Now there is change management involved in that, and the hardest part of that, in all honesty, is probably not the actual product innovation and the usage of the technology. It's in the data transformation projects that need to happen. It's in the back-end systems that need to be upgraded. It's in the data availability that needs to be changed. It's around the consent management around data. It's around the legal T's and C's that need to be applied for someone to actually use this stuff. It's the data accessibility. Who's trained this model? Where does the data come from? Are we grounding the model? Those are the really hard discussions. Beyond just, can I use an LLM to generate a blog? Yes, you can. Is it the right blog? Could it be better? Yes. Is there going to be regulatory changes that come in? Specifically in the EU, we know there's transparency legislation that's going to be coming in the near term. We need to be ready for that, and we need to prepare our data and prepare our approach so that those things happen. So yes, it is very exciting. Does it involve change management? Absolutely. Is it mind-bendingly complicated? Absolutely sometimes, but our job is to make it simple and to try and understand as best we can.
Brilliant. Ru, it's been an absolute pleasure having this conversation. We might wrap with a very brief query on the path forward. So as an organisation, it sounds like there's a lot of exciting announcements coming from Sitecore's perspective. Your partnership with Microsoft seems strong as ever, developing it out. What is the future for Sitecore?
Very big question. I think the future for Sitecore is around focusing on delivering that value. That is the only goal for us, is to make sure that the marketers who purchase Sitecore, the technologists who use Sitecore, those people aren't able to do their job. And we recognize that the pressure that they're under to get more things done with less. And their expectation is that they're going to be using AI systems to be able to power that. And then with the backing of people like Microsoft and the platform and the data and the capabilities that they deliver as well, enabling us to wait in the future and support those marketers to get their jobs done.
Exciting times.
Very exciting times.
Ru, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Appreciate it.